what I do every morning. I wake up every morning. I get out my journal that sits on my desk and I literally write down my 5 thankfuls. Thankful for whatever it may be, for my kids, for a clean house, for opportunities, for boldness, for being awesome, for being unstoppable, whatever that may look like. And some of you may be going, that's such woo-woo. Whatever, guys, what you put in your head is what you're about to walk out.
Tim is one of the most authentic and genuine people I've ever met.
Sincerely believe he's coming from a position of giving, and that means a lot.
You're going to make huge progress.
So I'd like to welcome Dr. Erin Hudson. When Tim asked me to help out with this while he's dodging the hurricane, I was actually very excited because I've done some research on Dr. Hudson and did a little social media digging and saw that she's very passionate, it looks like, in fitness and in real estate and business and family. And so I was very, very excited to get the opportunity to interview her. And so a little bit about Dr. Hudson. Dr. Erin Hudson is a director of investor relations at Quattro Capital. She's a dedicated mother to 5 wonderful children. Her extensive entrepreneurial track record consists of owning Hudson Wellness Centers in California. She's the owner of Legacy Builder 7, a company focused on value-add real estate investment opportunities. She has raised over $31 million in capital, and she is just getting started. Awesome. Love that. She has made it a point to get her kids investing in real estate. Both her 16 and 17-year-old each own their own Airbnb. That is incredible. Dr. Hudson travels the world to build orphanages, provide shelter for those in need, and loves on the less fortunate. We are so delighted to have Dr. Hudson on our podcast today. And so without any further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Dr. Erin Hudson.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that warm welcome, Kendall. That was so, so kind of you. I appreciate it. So it is an absolute honor to be here. And I just have a couple asks for you. I noticed that a lot of you have your cameras off. I get it. Some of you are working, but for those that can, turn your camera on because it literally gets me excited getting to see the smiles and feedback from you guys, body language and all. And so, yes, you can't clap, but this is what I call the virtual clap. If you hear something that's money or you're like, man, that's fire, that's good, you can do a little bit of this. That gets me excited knowing that you love what you're hearing, right? So with that being said, Kendall did a great job introducing me to y'all, but this is one area, the capital raising, that obviously I'm super, super excited to touch on. So I hope to bring some good nuggets today.
Well, we are so excited to have you here, Dr. Hudson. The first question that we'd like to start with is, what got you started in your multifamily commercial real estate journey?
Sure. Yep. So maybe some of you can relate. I can tell you this much. I was raised in a family where I was one of 5 kids, and my parents did not talk about financials. They did not talk about duplicating your seed money, and they certainly were not preparing for their retirement at all. And I remember thinking they both worked 9-to-5 jobs, building somebody else's dream, and certainly not their own. Did anyone else grow up in a home like that? Like, raise your hand. Am I an anomaly, or are there others out there? Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know that I am not alone. So it started with that. And I remember at a very, very young age, just wanting to be my own boss and not wanting to have somebody else that was going to boss me around and tell me what I was going to do, and certainly control my schedule, right? So I went on to become a doctor of chiropractic, had a couple wellness centers, and I had 30 headaches, i.e. team members that were awesome. And they helped for both my practices to be really, really successful. But here's the thing. I was giving 50 cents of every dollar that I brought into the wellness center, I paid in taxes. And it was burdensome and not fun when you're working so hard. You want to be able to take your own money and do what you want, certainly not give it to Uncle Sam, especially since I have 5 kids, right? And so I remember working on a patient one day and him laying on the table and saying something about mailbox money. And my ears perked up and I went, mailbox money? Tell me more. And so lo and behold, he was referring to rental properties. And with that being said, he talked about how he got this money that would come to his mailbox every single month. And I just remember like going home and I could not stop thinking about it. Like, how in the world do I create mailbox money when I live in Southern California? And it is super expensive and doesn't make a whole lot of sense to even invest in California, right? So long story short, let's just say that I don't do things halfway. I'm an all the way or no way kind of girl. And with that being said, I was researching best areas to invest and ran across Indianapolis, Indiana. Why? Because you could get a tenant out right away if they didn't pay rent, and property taxes were extremely low. And so with that being said, within 2 years, I acquired 26 rental properties, and I certainly got a taste of that mailbox money. And that's kind of where the real estate started for me. And then furthermore, I went on to help other friends, family, patients of mine get in the same position. I was not the expert, but people were coming to me and saying, Erin, I hear you own these investment properties, these real estate investment properties. How do you do it? Can you help me? So with that being said, I had a turnkey company simply because I already had the property manager and I already had the construction guys if I needed to put lipstick on the pig. And so with that being said, I would buy the property and then I would turn around, I'd put a tenant in there, get it all glammed up, and then I'd turn around and sell it. And so I did that over 115 times. And I did that not as a real estate agent. I did that literally without a website. I did that with 5 kids. I did that working a full-time job. Do you guys get it? Like, if it's important, you will find a way to get it done, right? And so that was moving into that single family space. It was awesome, but here's the problem. We didn't get that bonus depreciation, accelerated depreciation. None of that made sense in the single family space. And there was a whole lot of this. A month was good, a month was bad. A month was good, a month was bad. Can anyone relate with rental properties? Yeah? No? Okay, cool. You get it. So fast forward. It was all good, you guys. It was part of my story. It was the ladder that took me from where I was back then to where I am now. And so fast forward, I got invited to go to this multifamily educational event. And I remember thinking when I got invited, hell no, I cannot go. I do not qualify. I am not a billionaire, right? Because that's all I had in my head. That somebody that wanted to get into the multifamily space, he most certainly had to be a billionaire. And I certainly didn't make the cut. Well, let me share with you. I go to this event, I sit in the front row. I've got my arms crossed, kind of like, what's the pitch here? This is kind of weird. Why am I here? And I kid you not, it was as if the Red Sea was parted. It was as if I had been playing the game of Monopoly and landing on Vermont every single time, i.e., the single family houses, collecting $50. And I just found out that I'm totally capable to land on Boardwalk every single time, i.e. the apartments. And so that's it, guys. I drew a line in the sand and I said, man, I've got to jump now and have it hurt, right? Because I'm going to leave from being a doctor in my practice and I'm going over to the other side. I'm going to where I can get the depreciation. I'm going to where I can pay maybe 10 cents on the dollar, if anything at all, in taxes versus the 50 cents I was paying. And so that's really, guys, how it got started. And when I look, like, honestly, it was like packing up my car and being done with it. I had come home from this event and I said to my husband, we have got to move to Texas. Let's get out of California. Let's move into this multifamily space. I'm ready to go in all the way. And so I dove in and started with a whole mentorship program. So anyways, it gets better, but that was kind of how I got to where I am today.
That's incredible. It's so inspiring to hear, you sort of redefining your reality and breaking through those barriers of the stories that we tell ourselves. And so just to be able to hear someone said, you know what, there's got to be a better way. I've got this pain that I'm getting from taxes. I've got to just figure it out. And it sounds like you took massive action, and that is the key, right, to getting started. One of the things that you mentioned was you went to a multifamily event and then you later signed up for some mentorship. Can you talk a little bit about how you learned? What was your mentorship like? Did you have a coach?
Sure. So again, there's people out there, and maybe some of you are in that position. There's a lot of people that kind of want to dip their foot in. They kind of want to read a book and they want to check things out, and they want to ask their brother Scott to find out from their dog Paul if it's just going to be the right fit or if it's maybe the direction to go. And when I said I'm that kind of girl that's 1 foot in, or not 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and I dive all the way, it was exactly that. I knew that I certainly wasn't capable or qualified, but I was going to find somebody that was qualified and capable. And so I started to vet out and look for different mentorship programs so that I could get coached, so that I could have the skill sets and get equipped if I was really going to move in this direction full throttle 100%. And furthermore, being in the single family space, I didn't have any partners. I used my own money. I got super creative. I would buy 3 properties and I would turn around and sell them for far more than that. Or I would buy 4, sell 3, and keep 1 for free. I love being creative. But what I did know is if I was going to deal with other people's money, I had to be deadly serious and get massively equipped the right way so that I could preserve, protect, and grow their money in the right fashion. So I did. I jumped in with RE Mentor. Some of you may know as Dave Lindahl out of Boston, and that was the group that I learned under back in 2017. There's many out there, and I'm sure there's other great ones as well that I'm familiar with. But yes, that was where I got my education, Kendall. It was a matter of getting coached and jumping on calls every week and taking that massive pay cut to jump into something that I knew was going to be exponential growth in a mighty, mighty way. And that pay cut was going to be well worth it.
That's incredible. I love hearing about someone that leverages knowledge and information of others and not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? So taking messy action to get started, but it sounds like once you decided, okay, I need to get deadly serious about raising other people's money, then I need to invest in education. I need to invest in a mentor that can get me situated in the right way.
Yep, that is exactly it.
That's fantastic. So how much money have you raised so far, if you had to put a number on it?
Yeah, so just roughly over $30 million so far, and just I'd say under three years.
Wow, that's incredible. So was that daunting to think about raising that much money, especially coming from single family where you did all of the money your own, you got creative with finances, raising that much money, and it's other people's money?
Yeah, listen, I don't even think that I thought that big at the time, because truthfully, I really did it ass backwards. If you want to know the truth, I did it backwards. And maybe some of you feel the same or been in the same position. When I got started, tried to wear all the hats. Got to find the deal. Got to find the money. Got to find. Is anybody else been there, done that, or still maybe doing that? It's overwhelming, y'all. It is so hard to wear all those hats: asset management, property management, vetting everything, finding the money. Like, that's a lot of work. Let me tell you, I've had massive hiccups and call it failures along the way. But let me tell you, failure is a great way to learn where you will never go again. And I'll tell you this much, it's exhausting. It's exhausting feeling like you have to wear all those hats. In the single family, you could do all of that. And the multifamily, if you want to enjoy and have longevity, you absolutely should play to your strength. So what do I mean by that? If you guys are all on here for probably capital raising, I'm assuming, hence that's the title of this group, how liberating is it to wear the hat of raising the money and getting to stay in a lane where you most optimally function. I don't know about you, but it is freedom to the nth degree for me, because this is the lane that I freaking love. I don't want to be Chad Sutton, my head of acquisitions, locked in a closet with no windows, running numbers and creating spreadsheets. And I certainly don't want to be my other partner, Kim Wendland, head of asset management, doing the numbers and putting the variance reports in. No, thank you. Do I know how to underwrite a deal? Hell yeah. Do I want to stay in that lane? Hell no, right? So as I've navigated through life, I feel like I've been in many places, but I feel like I don't want to say deserve, because that sounds really bratty, but I feel like at this point in my life, I want to go with the least resistance, where I flourish and want to stay in a place where I don't feel like it's work. I don't feel like it's work at all. Okay, it is, but not anywhere like that 9 to 5 that you don't want to go to. This is like a lane that it comes easy to me. It's my strength. I love people. I love seeing people win. And when your mindset is about helping other people win, what's the overfill? It's a natural, you win.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So you mentioned that there were some hard knocks along the way. You didn't really start, and I think it's sort of difficult for anyone to start thinking about, I'm going to raise $30 million. So what was can you pinpoint sort of that light bulb moment when you realized that, maybe that's something that was not even in your realm of reality, and now all of a sudden it's possible for you?
Listen, I think along the way for all of us, guys, when you're first getting started, there's like a level that you're wanting to hit. Maybe you don't hit it, maybe you do. And then once you hit it, what happens to your confidence? It goes through the freaking roof. And then guess what? Now you have a new barrier. And once you hit that, it's like, man, I'm unstoppable, right? And so for me, it's the same thing. Remember how I said it's all about people? If you truly operate in the mindset of helping other people win, you guys will be unstoppable, and the success you will have will be mind-blowing. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, let's go back to my first raise. My first property that I purchased, it was a $5.2 million property. I raised $2 million for that. I ended up raising $2 million from that deal. That was my first deal. Well, how did I do it? I went back to all of the people that had come in and bought a single family property from me, right? Now, if I got a good chunk of those people that bought single family properties from me to join into this first syndication, do you think that they know me, like me, and trusted me? Do you think that I did good, sound business? That they didn't feel bamboozled or manipulated? Think about it. So you guys can apply this to anything that you're doing. Y'all know people I don't know that you've done business with. Maybe it's not single family, but what have you done out there where people know the value you bring, that you're a good person, that you're honest, that you're loyal, that you're full of integrity, and you want them to win? That's where the list should come from. Listen, I know all you people here have so many friends. Write down your list of people that trust you, believe in you, and know you're going to do something great with your life. Those are the people that are going to want to do and be around you and have what you have, right? So it really starts from within. So I didn't have that scare. I just went to the lowest hanging fruit of people that I thought, shoot, I wonder if they'd be interested in hearing more. And sometimes it's those people that are the closest to you that want nothing to do with it, not want nothing to do with what you're doing, i.e. my brothers and my sisters. There's 4 other brothers and sisters of mine, right? They thought I was kooky, going from being a doctor, having success in my practices, and now all of a sudden I'm going into a whole nother arena, starting at ground zero. They thought I was a freak. And guess what? So did my colleagues. My colleagues from chiropractic, they all thought I was crazy. They're like, you have these flourishing practices. What is your problem? I wish I could have that kind of success. Why in the heck are you leaving? Because there's something bigger out there, guys. Anyways, I'll pause. Can you tell I'm a little bit passionate?
I love it. I love the creativity. I love how you sort of thought out of the box and said, okay, how can I use my network from day one to get this going? And so that sort of highlights what you did to start raising capital. How do you go about finding passive investors now? If you had to say, these are my top 3 ways of finding passive investors, how would you go about doing that now?
So for sure, social media, no matter what. And sometimes that takes time, y'all. It's not that you're just going to put a post up there and then everybody's going to be like, oh, all right, let me go see if I can invest with her. No, think about it. As humans, we are looking for people to fail. Our friends and our family. I don't know what it is. Humans are just dialed to look at people in failure. Are they still at it, or have they dropped off the side? Right. And so people are constantly watching. So you may think, oh my gosh, all my friends from high school, my friends from college, they're never going to join me. They've seen that I've been doing this. You would be shocked how many people now, this has been since 2017 when I started, that are just now jumping on the wagon with me and want to invest passively. People coming out of the woodworks. Who would have thought, right? So I would start with that social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Okay. I'm not the best at it, but it's okay. It's a matter of getting out there and being consistent. Okay. And so from that, not only is it just posting, but it's going back and responding to when people make comments on yours. And sometimes it's not even just on yours, it's going to theirs and saying something, a thing or two about them, but speaking from a place of not manipulation, a place of love, a place of, pouring into them, making them feel special and important, not in a gross way, guys. Like, do it from the heart, because you reap what you sow, right? And so we all want that. So that was number 1. Number 2 is virtual has been awesome of going in there, because look, when you have these little breakout rooms, it gives you a chance to get to know somebody. And let's be real with one another. Within the first 3 minutes of somebody speaking, when you go into one, you're like, man, I love their energy. I love their smile. I love that they're hungry for growth. I love that they feel like they're unstoppable and want to go for the greatness and the good. And then lastly, shoot, they just shared, I just checked them out and they've got a great team. Like, it makes it easy. So y'all should be utilizing those virtual events that are going on. And then number 3, I love to speak at conferences. And I've done a lot of that for multifamily, but guess what? There's something that many people are missing. Branch out and start plugging yourself into conferences that are not even multifamily at all. So what do I mean by that? I just went to a women's 300 people, no, I apologize. 200 people women's conference. I did not go there to be like, hey, do you want to get in my deal? No. But when you start talking to people and that they truly know that you care and that you're just a good-natured person, they inquire, they want to know more. And I walked away from that. I walked away from that thing raising $500,000. And I did not lead with that. So start putting yourself in different ponds where you are an anomaly and people are in awe of what you have. I don't know. I heard my buddy, Mr. Thompson, he said 18. He said that he's in 18 passive deals right now. That guy's everywhere. That guy is all over the place. But if you know him, he's a super great, good guy with a heart of gold, right? And so just put yourself in those places in different ponds, I'm telling you, is where it's at. Oh, I know what I was going to say about it. Because think about it. If Mr. Thompson goes someplace, he puts himself in a new pond and somebody starts to inquire and ask about him and he shares what he does. If the person's interested and they're intrigued about this multifamily, you're not going to sit there and barf all over them. You're going to leave little hooks and see if they bite the hook. And if they don't, you change the conversation, you make it about them. Because number 1, if they bite the hook, they're going to want to know more. And if they want to know more and they find out Mr. Thompson owns 18 apartment buildings, he just became an anomaly because he's in a space where there's probably not other people that own 18 apartment buildings. So people want to know more, right? If they don't bite the hook and they don't act interested, it doesn't mean you can't still love on the person and be kind and complimentary. So just love on them a little bit. because guess what? You're going to be an anomaly at that point too. Why? Because most people don't give a flying about other people to dig in, ask about their family, ask about their livelihood, what they do, what makes them tick, right? So anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off, but other ponds, guys, for sure. Put yourself in them.
That is fantastic. So many great nuggets in that. The idea of coming from a place of love is something that resonates with me so much, because that's really at the heart of it. That's what it's all about, right? Like, this is a people-based business, people-based endeavor, and people just want to be loved on, right? And so really fantastic stuff there. You mentioned earlier that one of your pain points to get you into investing was taxes, right? And so can you talk a little bit about what the investor profile that you target now is, and what are their pains and motivations to invest?
Hey, listen, guys, I'm still working on a lot of things, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still working on that. I don't have an avatar right now. I don't have 30 to 40 that are doctors that are working 9 to 5. I don't have that. So yes, I still got to work on my craft. But with that being said, I think for me, just in talking to other people, it's not necessarily, oh, you work a 9 to 5, let me help you with your taxes. It's really for me about, so what is it that you're doing to grow your empire? And sometimes people choke. When you ask them that, they're like, well, they can already tell I'm kind of high on life, guys. I don't need a coffee to get me like this. I'm pretty like fired up, just passionate about life in general. But when you ask them thought-provoking questions, sometimes it will intrigue them enough to say, well, not a whole lot right now. What are you doing? Or what do you recommend? And it opens up the conversation to start that. So I don't really have an avatar. I work with all walks. I will tell you, I do work with a lot of doctors, but it's not because I've just been hunting down, and everything that I send out is to catch the eye of the doctor and the right fit for the doctor. It's truly all walks of life for me. So maybe not the best answer you want to hear.
Well, no, that's fantastic, because I think it highlights the fact that you don't have to do everything one specific way, right? There's so many ways to go about doing things. And so I love that answer so much. Can you talk a little bit about what is the best way for someone that is new to capital raising to sort of be able to show that they're credible when talking with potential passive investors?
Oh, this is really good. Okay, so I love that you asked this question. I will tell you, one of the ways that I really screwed up is when I got in the game back in 2017, I had cash in my hand. And especially for all of you new, if there's anybody new in here and you're listening, this, like, take this and apply. So I had cash, and I very well could have gone in with my buddy Jeff over here and gotten in a deal with him, or gotten in a deal with Zane, or gotten in a deal with Victor, whoever it may be. I could have gotten in a nice, good, strong deal, I'm sure. But guess what? My ego was so jacked up that I thought, oh no, I'm going to save all this money for my deal when I take down my own deal. Guys, opportunity cost. I lost time. I lost a year and a half before I took down my first 104 unit. So anybody that is on here and you are new in the space, if you have got funds, go get in a deal. If you don't have funds, go get in a deal. What do I mean by that? Don't get me started, but here's the deal. There is money everywhere, everywhere. And so it's about getting creative and finding ways and not taking no for an answer. So what do I mean by that? I'm just going to share with you really quickly, because I'm sure there are some of you on here that have not gotten in your first deal, and you need to get in your first deal. Let me tell you why first. Again, remember about that confidence. You're going to feel that much more confident being an investor in a deal, even if it's passive, y'all. Even if it's passive, guess what? When you go to have that conversation with the guy that you're hoping that gets in your deal, you get to say, oh yeah, we just took down this 240 unit, or I own this property over here. You're not lying, but you appear like a bigwig to the individual. So what does he want? If he's hanging out with you and he likes you, he wants what you have, right? So get yourself in a deal with a great operator and get in the game. Now, if you don't have the money, hear me loud and clear. I'm going to share with you. It's pretty powerful. So remember I told you I owned those 26 rental properties? They were all free and clear, but I was a fool because you don't know what you don't know. I did not leverage them. I did not take cash out of them at the time. Now, with that being said, what if there was a way? I'll just share with you what I did. We were going to purchase this 36 unit apartment building. And my partners, Quattro, we were not all Quattro at that time, but I really wanted to try them on for size. And so we decided to take down a property ourselves. And they said, Erin, if you want to own 25% of the deal, you need to bring $300,000 to the table. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, where am I going to get the 300,000? I was like, well, I guess I'll just refi out one or two of my properties and pull cash out. I've never done it, right? I go to bed that night. I wake up in the middle of the night with this brilliant idea. And I said, honey, wake up. I got to share this with you. And he goes, it's 3 a.m. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So I said, okay, wake up the next day. Listen what I did. I go on social media. I type in there, how would you like to be the bank? Make a great return and have it backed by real estate. And I kid you not, 65 people commented, tell me more. Yes, highly interested. So what did I do? I went down the list of 65 people. I found the lowest hanging fruit of those that knew me, liked me, and trusted me. And let me tell you, within 48 hours, I locked up my $300,000. Why did I do that? I could have taken out the money from the houses, but I was really interested in about this OPM, other people's money. So I want you to hear me. You cannot take their money and go have it backed against your apartment building. That's not what I was doing. I had it backed separately against a rental property that I had. And listen, maybe you have family members or friends that trust you so much that you don't even need a property, okay, to back it with. But what I'm getting at is this. This was my offer. I will pay you 7%. I've got a great opportunity. I will pay you 7% interest only, quarterly payouts, 2-year minimum, 3-year maximum. And I kid you not, I locked up that $300,000. So what does that mean? It means I took the $300,000, I put it towards this apartment building, and now I just got 25% ownership of this beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee property without my own money. What happened to me? Yes, I won because now I own 25% of this apartment building, but I just stretched myself in a way that I never had before. So what happened to my confidence? Yeah, let's just say it did. It went out the roof, right? But now I knew what I was capable of. Come on, you guys. I don't see any hands going like this, like nice job, right? But good stuff, stretching yourself. So the reason I share that with you is this. If you want it bad enough, you will find a way. You will find a way to get in the game and go offer something up. Think about it. Right now, if you get in an apartment deal, it's paying out 6%, sometimes pref. Is fair to say that 6% services your debt with the individual anyways, in essence, right? So anyways, wanted to share that because it is powerful if you really are deadly serious about getting in the game.
Yeah, that's just absolutely incredible. One of the themes that I've noticed in many of your approaches is how important relationships are, working with people that know, like, and trust you. Can you talk a little bit about how you build and nurture those relationships? Do you do some type of like newsletter or direct mail? How do you go about nurturing and building those long-term relationships?
Listen, I have nothing to brag about when it comes to this, guys. I told you I am flawed all over the place. I do not have a newsletter. I don't have any special emails that go out like a lot of you other companies do. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm still flawed and still a work in progress. But what I will tell you is I love people. I love people, guys. And here's the thing. What I will say is there'll be a text message that might go out to one of my investors. How's the family? How did Johnny do in his soccer game last week? Whatever it may be, not all the time. But I love to let people know, hey, just thinking about you. How are things going? What's new? I don't even have to ask them. When I come in from that approach, guess what I get back a lot of times? Hey, I'm so glad you reached out. Has Quattro got anything in the works right now? No, not right now, but hang tight. We're working on something. Stay tuned. Guys, it's a little drip. What does that make you? An anomaly. Let's just talk about it for a moment. This is so important. Many people will reach out and try and shove a deal down people's throat. Or hold on a second, they'll send an email. If you guys are doing it this way, that's fine. Whatever works for you. I'm just sharing with you a lot of feedback that I get, but you'll see emails come in. Oh, check out my deal. Check out my deal. You're not going to want to miss this. But they're missing the whole beginning portion, which is loving on people and letting them know, I've already said it, that they're special, that they're important, right? And so it doesn't necessarily always have to be about the deal, the deal, the deal. Make it about them. Hey, what are you working on? How can I help you? Is there anything I can connect you with? And when you find out what's going on in their life, offer up a connect. Hey, you had mentioned that you're looking for a loan for your refi of your house. I'd love to connect you with someone. Bob, I'll send over a couple names. Why? Because your value just went up on the totem pole for these people, right? So just think out the box, because you truly will come an anomaly when a lot of people in our space are just reaching out to people when they have a deal. But that's kind of like you're a hoe, like you're just getting used. Like, I can't feel good. Like, I don't want to feel like that. Truthfully, think about it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thanks for smiling, Todd Lee. I see you there. Thanks for the grin. Thanks, Lionel. I see your smile too there, pal.
One of the things that stuck out when you were talking about how you utilize social media is that it sounds like such a novel idea for people that use social media for business, but the fact that you actually use it to be social, right? Like, that's the first thing. You use the platform for what it was designed for, and the business is a byproduct from actually making authentic connections with people.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not the greatest at it, but I try and chime in for a little bit during the day.
That's fantastic. So can you talk a little bit about what are some of your favorite tools or resources at the moment? Do you have a favorite syndication software or something like that?
Sure. Yep. Currently using Syndication Pro. Listen, there's a lot of them out there, and I feel like they're all just kind of missing a thing or two. And so I'm in the middle of actually working. We're getting ready to move. I'm not going to give you the name yet, because when we do, if it's great, then y'all could reach out and ask. But man, this one has got all the bells and whistles for what we've been looking for. I feel like if you could take all of them out there and you can grab pieces from each of them, you could really come up with something great. But I feel like we've got one that's in the works right now. So super excited with that. I love Calendly. HubSpot has been great for us. I know there's a lot of different things out there. That's just really what's worked nicely for me. I know it sounds really, I'm not super techy, but I know with like HubSpot, if you have an iPhone, you can grab the little world and literally just give people your link when they're reaching out to you. And I do that all the time via text. Hey man, grab a spot on my calendar. I'd love to talk shop and find out how I can help you move your needle forward. Super simple. Why? Because I didn't just say, hey, grab a spot on my calendar. Let's talk about the 240 unit you're closing in the middle of October. I didn't say that. I said, grab a spot on my calendar. I'd love to learn more about you. I'd love to find out how I can help you.
Adding value. I love it.
Adding value, but doing it from a place of true intent, right? Big difference.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Those are some great nuggets. Thank you for that. Do your investors prefer that you focus on one asset type, or do they prefer to be diversified among several different asset types?
Pretty much this, B assets for us. I think that's the comfortability. Look, when we started off, we were definitely in the C assets, but you have one or two and big things go awry, like a collapse main. Anyways, I don't need to go there, but things happen. And so B is kind of 1980s or newer is what we're wanting. And our investors are super happy with that. I think a lot of times, with the A properties, it's just inversely proportionate, right? Most times lower return, unless you're like some of the folk on here that have a diamond in the rough, that little unicorn A property, and can make those numbers work. But I think between that 18 and 20%, we're golden. for sure.
That's excellent. Excellent. So you mentioned earlier, kind of branching outside of your normal pool and kind of dropping little hooks here and there whenever you meet people. Can you talk about how do you go about asking for money? How, when it gets down to it, how do you ask for money?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I love to educate. So I don't ever come out and say, hey, come invest with my deal. Here's what I do. Here's a typical phone call with me. People, I really want to make sure, and this should be for all of you guys, and maybe you're already doing it, and I was just late to the party, but when people book on my calendar to connect, what I have been doing is, and actually I'm working on it so it's automated, but it's been getting pushed out by my assistant for, hey, jump on and check out thequattroway.com. I'd love for you to learn a little bit about my team. Furthermore, once we do that, I like to come to a call where they know about the team, they know about Quattro, they know what I do, because the last thing I want to do when I'm on a call with them, and I put that in the message, is I don't want to get on the call and talk about me. It's not my party, it's their party. So I'll say, hey, make sure you dig in, learn a little bit about Quattro, kind of the background. I can hardly wait to meet you and learn a little bit more about you and how I can best help. Right? So that by the time we get on the call, they already know about Quattro. They're not going to ask me about my 26 properties and what I did and where I came from, right? And then furthermore, I get to ask and learn about them. And if they are insinuating that they want to move forward and they want to do more, then I will say to them, hey, listen, you know what I think might be a good idea for you? Feel free. And sometimes I'll do this prior to our call. It just depends on how warm the lead is and how hungry they are. If they're hungry right away, then I'll give them this. But if I'm on the call with them and it's really a new relationship, I'll say, hey, listen, I would love for you to go to our portal, get registered, and I'd love for you to check out the last deal we did. And the last deal we did, if you watch the webinar on it, you're going to not only learn about the team, but you're going to learn how we structure our deals so that when the next one comes, you're going to be ready, locked and loaded if it's the right fit. And you have a temperature for it. Why? Because I didn't just try and sell them on anything. And then what I'll say sometimes is, first watch that. Guys, we've got a deal in flight. Like, hear me for a moment. There's a deal here. They're thinking they're getting on the call to talk about the deal. And now all of a sudden this mama is like, hey, well, check out this last deal we did. Watch the webinar. Because we haven't had the webinar, right? In essence, we haven't had the new webinar, but hey, see if you like it. And then if you have a temperature for it, maybe you'll be the right fit. You know, maybe this next property you have will be the right fit. So what I would love for you to do, it's homework, right? We want to see how serious they are. Dig in, grab another spot on my calendar, and I'd love to answer any questions you have, maybe bring some more color or context to what I just shared with you. So then they want to get on the next call, or they just go straight to reservation. Forget me, they bypassed me. They saw that, they already saw the new opportunity, they've already reserved a spot. It's already a done deal. So that's what's really worked wonderfully for me, because it's about educating them. We don't want everybody, guys. We're not looking for PITAs. We're not looking for pain in the asses that are calling you every 5 seconds. And truthfully, I maybe have 1 or 2. Because if you vet them properly, we're not desperate for money. We want to grow people's empire. We're not looking for the Walmart worker. We're looking for somebody that wants to go nonstop to the top in a rapid way, and we're going to show them how.
Very cool. Very cool. How do you make sure that the money is readily available when you have that deal that comes up, so that way you're not out hustling all the time?
Oh my gosh. Well, here's the deal on this. I'm always raising. Always, 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 always. What do I mean by that? Last year, we closed 15 apartment buildings with Team Quattro. So it was literally a revolving door. Well, of course, things have slowed down right now. And don't fear. I hope none of you guys are afraid. I think the middle of 2023, guys, it's going to be like the golden goose. There's going to be people that need to sell, and it's the right opportunity. And so with that being said, there's a couple things that we do that are really helpful. Number one, I feel like we're always just rolling from deal to deal anyways. We truly are, regardless whether we did 15 or we've done 3 really large ones this year. And so it just the timing of them naturally, we've always just kind of been in raise mode the whole entire time. What I will tell you though is 2 things. We have got people, maybe some of you can relate to this. You lock up a property, you do the due diligence, all of a sudden you're like waiting for the attorney. You're like, attorney, are you going to give me the freaking PPM? Like, we got money to raise here. And y'all know that you cannot raise money without a PPM. So how did we get around that? What we did is, with our attorney, we had him create an escrow account, and people would just send money to the escrow account. They'd sign our escrow document that basically says you can get your money back if you decide that you're not interested in the property that we're about to put out. But what I will tell you is this one's going to fill fast. So it might be wise to put your money in, first come, first serve is how we do it. We timestamp everything, right? So what did that do? Well, it truly creates the urgency to get their funds over, but it wasn't a lie. It wasn't a lie. 2 deals, I don't know, 2 or 3 deals ago, we've done this for every deal. We overfunded $2.5 million because a bunch of money came in within a 3-day time frame. So what do we tell our investors? Guys, we timestamp everything. We want to be honoring to every single one of you. And so we go by that timestamp that comes into our attorney escrow account, right? So I think that's number 1. And number 2, we're now getting our PPM docs much earlier because we're noticing that they're still very similar. And so our attorney's helping us on our timing with our PPM docs. There's pros and cons, guys. If you have the escrow account, not that it's an accounting nightmare, but it's a lot more work, right? Versus just having the PPM docs ready and the bank account opened. So anyhow, I think we're always raising money, but there's just a few tricks and trades and secrets that you can do that makes life much easier to keep that money coming in.
That's great. Always be raising. I think we need that on a shirt, right?
I like
Do
it.
you raise capital for your own deals only, or do you partner with other operators?
Yeah, so that's probably one thing that's a little bit more unique about myself. I am strictly with Quattro Capital. I'm one of the co-founders, and the 5 of us together, we are just constantly doing our own deals. Now, we will actually work with other people that bring a deal to us, and we're certainly not in a desperate position for that whatsoever. For us, let's just talk about it really quick. The property is super important. We would consider a property, obviously location and property, but the property is the horse and the operators are the jockey. So always be betting on that jockey to make sure when you get into a deal, right? And so for us is we want to make sure that there's alignment and ethics and so on and so forth when we're working with other people. So we're just very picky and choosy with making sure that we're working with like-minded people, not in desperation for another deal or more money, right? It's always best for the investor. Make sure you know, like, trust, and all of those other things, making sure that they're vetted individuals. So no, I don't raise for other people.
Got it. How do you go about vetting those jockeys? You talked a little bit about know, liking, and trusting, but can you go a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah, so I can share with you kind of, for example, who we've worked with in the past. What that looks like is, listen, I love to work with people that are hungry for success, that want to know, come high or hell water, how they can get in your circle and work with you. So there's no better way than for people to come in and be like, what is it you're looking for? What's your criteria? How can I add value? They want to be a giver because that's who we are. We're givers. I want to attract givers and people that aren't just take, or just because you have a great deal in a great market doesn't mean that we want to have that deal, right? Because the person is more important. So with that being said, I love working with people that want to add and bring value. Like, man, I see you guys growing. Can I help on the asset management side on lightening your load a little bit or whatever it may be? But let's just say that 4 of those are people that were just like that, who have now since found 2, 4 deals. Like, they literally have come in and linked arms with Quattro and come in, and we call them alliance partners. They're an extension of Quattro. And so they'll come in and bring the deal, and we treat them like gold when they come in, and they run the whole entire deal with us. So that's pretty much what we're doing on that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I love seeing that you, are walking the talk, so to speak, and working with people that are in alignment with your own values. That's absolutely fantastic. If you've been through the last market crash, what were the challenges raising money during that time, and how did you overcome them?
Oh man, that's a good one. Right before the pandemic happened, with Team Quattro, we were 10 days before close, and our loan got pulled out from underneath us. And at that point, we had $250,000 hard on this deal. And I kid you not, it was the scariest time ever. I think I think we were all working 12 to 14 hours a day looking for a new lender to jump in and save this deal, because we knew it was a good deal. The banks were just freaked out at the time. And there were times where I was on the phone with my partner, and you could hear kids snoring in the background, and it was 12:30 at night. And you really want to work with people that are hungry and hardworking just like you. You don't want any coattail people coming along. You want to have partners that are hungry for success, and come hell or high water, they're going to figure out a way to overcome the obstacle. It was a scary, scary time. I kid you not, we ended up coming out on top. But I will tell you, at the time when all of that was going on, there was literally 10 days that we were calling on bank after bank after bank and having a conference call after conference call. And we said, guys, let's give it 12 more hours. This is the last day. And then we have to throw in the towel, because it kept getting worse. There were like 10% loans and all these just crazy loan numbers that were coming out, and it was killing the deal. And of course, our heart is for people, and we're not going to put our investors in a deal that doesn't make sense and is going to hell in a handbag the more days that are going by, right? The more predatory lenders than I ever could imagine. And so it is amazing how, listen, when you really truly care about people winning, and if you're a believer or not, the Lord knows the desire of your heart. And our desire was to see people not be in a shoddy position. And so we had to back down and say, look, we're giving it 12 hours. And if we can't find something, we're just going to take the loss of $250,000, because we submitted the way that we did. And all 5 partners were all on the same page. Number one, when you're going through hard times and you can come out on top with your partners like that you are evenly yoked. Number two, that your partners are all for people wanting to win, and you don't want to put anyone in a vulnerable position. And number three, we ended up, because of our hearts being turned the right way, we ended up with a loan that was crazy. It doesn't matter. We can talk about it another time, but it's basically a loan where our terms were better than what we initially had. It was a developmental, gosh, I can't even think of the name right now. I apologize, but mission driven. Anyways, it was a loan that we got that ended up being way better. And we ended up closing this deal and walked out with massive success. We ended up holding it for 18 months. Some will say, what the heck? Why not walk out the 5-year business plan? Well, here's the thing. Quattro is always vetting and looking at the stats. Is the rent that's trending up, is the income following? And so we got to this place where the income was not following. And so we went back to the partners, the joint venture partners that we had in this deal. And we said, look, we can either stay in this and I think we'll be okay, or we can jump out now, because God forbid, if it gets worse, we may have a lot of people that we have to evict down the road. And so we ended up selling it and netted over a 30% return across 4 of the properties that we had there in Knoxville, Tennessee. So it was a massive win, and we could have gone either direction, but I'm glad we jumped and did what we did. So sorry,
Wow.
I didn't mean to swirl on you, but all good stuff.
What a story. My goodness. Wow.
Yep.
Congratulations on that. That's remarkable. That's remarkable.
Thank you very much.
Earlier, you mentioned that you believe that mid-2023 is going to sort of be a golden goose, so to speak. What is your plan for thriving in this upcoming market? How are you going to approach what we are coming into?
Well, I will tell you this much, guys, the lane that we are in is the best lane that one could ever be in the multifamily space. I'm sure a lot of you guys are capital raisers that bring money to other people's deal. You guys are the bargaining chip. You guys are the cog in that wheel that actually sets the whole entire thing and sets it all up, right? There is so much freaking money out there, regardless of what times we're in right now. There is so much money. And so I think that if you are properly positioning your people, if you do it the right way, they are going to be locked and loaded and ready to go come mid 2023. And here's the other thing. People are always looking to work with good people. Money's not the issue. There's plenty of it. People are always looking to put their money with good people. Now, if you're just getting started, maybe it's only $100,000 because they want to try you out for size, right? And as you perform and you exceed expectations and you underpromise and overdeliver, the most beautiful part is you will have lifers. Lifers. They're never going to leave you. If you execute on your business plan and you come out on top, do you think they want to go try somebody else out for size after 5 years and they double their money? No, they want to reinvest it. So we had a lot of people that were coming in for $100,000 when we first got started because they wanted to try out Quattro. I'm like beyond blessed, grateful, in awe that people trust us as much as they do. Our second to last deal here, or no, our recent last deal, our reinvestment rate was 53%. That is huge. Why am I sharing that? Because guess what? These guys went from doing $100,000 in our deal to $500,000 to $1 million to 1.5. Are you catching what I'm throwing down? There's money everywhere, and they want to believe and invest with you if you can show them the ropes and walk out and execute.
That's powerful. That's powerful. What would you say to someone whose big goal is to raise $100 million, but they don't think that they can do it?
Well, first of all, you got to get your mind right, pal. You got to stop. I'm sorry, I could just fly right now. Listen, the thing is, this isn't about you. Stop making it about you. It's not about you, it's about them. We have lives to change. People's generations of wealth to create, legacies to build, plant the vision, but first start with yourself. First start with yourself, because you got issues inside that you got to work out, and believe that you can do it. It all starts from within. Listen, I don't know, maybe you won't like me after I say this. Like, I just feel like I am so confident that I can have and do whatever the hell it is I set my eye on. I'm not, yeah, it's a little scary. Yeah, it's a little scary. But you can have whatever you want. It just depends on how bad you want it and if you're willing to step up and take action and do it. And then I think the last thing is, maybe, I don't know, take a note on this. I kid you not. I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. For some of you that have heard me speak before, like, this is what I do every morning. I wake up every morning. I get out my journal that sits on my desk, and I literally write down my 5 thankfuls. Thankful for whatever it may be, for my kids, for a clean house, for opportunities, for boldness, for being awesome, for being unstoppable, whatever that may look like. And some of you may be going, that's such woo-woo. Whatever, guys, what you put in your head is what you're about to walk out, right? If you believe you're unstoppable, you're unstoppable. And then I literally write down some of the goals and things that I want to do. One of them is I want to make $100,000 a month. All right, well, let's go. Got to pony up and start working the magic and reverse engineer what that looks like in order to get there, right? And believe it or not, it's not as hard as you think it is. We make it harder than it really is. We make it harder than it is. Just remember, it's not about you. It's the other people. You have lives to transform and show them the goodness. I'm sure there's many people that were just like me that didn't even know what existed on the other side. I didn't know that I could invest in apartment buildings being a little peon. And guess what? It's done.
Love it. Love it. What is your biggest goal or passion that you want to achieve at this point in your life?
Yeah, so I already shared that one, that 100,000. Because listen, the truth of the matter is, helping change people's lives and making great money does coexist. It does coexist, and some people think it can't. It absolutely does. So there's that, and then I want to build an empire so big and bring my kids along with me. I want my kids to all come and learn how to grow this passive income and get in the game so that we can pass on that generational wealth and they can continue to uphold that and do that, because I want to change the trajectory of my family's life forever. I shared with you what I grew up with, and bless my mom's heart, she gets sad every time she hears me talk about it or reads it on the website. And I'm like, Mom, it just is what it is. It's you only knew what you knew. And that is what was passed down to you. But guess what? I'm going to change that for our family forever. That's what it is.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Now, we know that your children own their own Airbnbs, and one of your children have purchased their own property, multifamily property already. So I know that you're already sort of passing on this information, but what would it be that you would teach your younger self if you could go back and talk to baby Dr. Hudson? What would you tell her?
No, that's a great one. Obviously, I wish I was in it earlier, but again, you don't know what you don't know. And so I think that's what fuels my fire to get the younger generation up and going, because literally my kids' lives will never be the same after knowing the goodness of being able to be a part of it. But guess what? That's why Quattro actually leaves a spot on every deal that we do for 4 kids, call them kids, I'm getting old, under 25, they can come in for as little as $25,000. It's to give them a hand up. Our minimum is 100,000, but we leave those 4 spots on every deal for the younger generation to get in and give them a taste of the goodness of creating that passive income. So for me, I think it was just, I wish I could have gotten started earlier, but I don't stay there. I feel grateful for all that I have, and abundance is everywhere, and opportunities are all over my life. Because of where I put myself in places and who I surround myself with. And let's be real, proximity is power. And so I just want to go be around people that are doing big things and glean from them. I want to be the dumbest broad in the freaking room so that I can learn and get massively equipped, because I am ever learning.
You've talked so much about mindset. You've talked so much about the power of just the sort of that software that you run in your mind. Is there any last words of wisdom that you would like to leave with our viewers today?
Now, I think I shouted it, but like literally, guys, you need to go help other people win. Don't think about, remember, you're not asking anybody for money. You're sharing an opportunity, and opportunities change lives. And so don't be scared of, oh my gosh, how do I talk to them? What am I going to say? No, man, I've got this incredible opportunity. I'd love to share with you a little bit about it, if perhaps you might have some interest. That's it. Guess what? They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. If they say yes, you carry on. And when I say carry on, you don't barf all over them about the deal. Well, fantastic. Man, let's have a coffee date in 2 days. I'd love to, let's go over to whatever, coffee shop at 9 a.m. Can you make it? Well, guess what they're thinking? Shoot, man, I thought she was going to share with me about the deal right now. No, man, it's so good. We got to wait till we have some time together. It's not a quickie that quick, right? Like, build up the anticipation, get the excitement. And the last thing is, people are reading your face. Are you someone that's like happy all the time? Or are you like, oh gosh, man, another day? Your energy and vibration, nobody wants a piece of it if you're frowning. Flip it upside down, pal. You'd be shocked how much people need happiness, goodness, and a smile in their life. And on top of that, a compliment. So give them a nice, genuine compliment, and you will be sure to attract the masses with hardly any effort. That's what I have.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Hudson.